Lloyds Banking Group under scrutiny for insolvency ties. Lloyds Banking Group has been ordered to lift the lid on its relationship with insolvency partners after allegations that conflicts of interest damage the position of our creditors. A High Court judge said Lloyds must reveal details of its insolvency agreement with BDO, the accountancy firm, in light of claims that the impartiality and independence of insolvency practitioners may have been undermined by their relationship with the bank. Of course it will be. It's like Nottingham City Council and Nottinghamshire Police have a strategic partnership, which means they cover each other's back and screw the rest of us. Priti Patel accused of conflict of interest in mod contract. Lib Dem asks Home Secretary to clarify relationship with US military tech supplier Viasat. The Home Secretary, Priti Patel, has been urged to withdraw from Cabinet discussions about a lucrative £6 billion defence contract after it emerged that £6 billion, let's not waste that on any defence attack contract. Let's end homelessness and end hunger in this country. But no, we'll waste $6 billion on a defence contract after it emerged that the US company that paid her £1,000 an hour to advise it plans to bid for the work. Christine Jardine, the Liberal Democrats Home Affairs spokesman, said the fact that Patel had worked for Viasat in the period running up to her appointment as Home Secretary created a risk of a conflict of interest now she was in government. Really? Conflict of interest just because she's... Of course it's a conflict of interest. Gee. Huge child porn ring bust in Toronto shows sickness in our society. June 25th, 2019. Every day for Life Canada, a child pornography ring operating in Toronto was busted this week by Toronto police. The computer servers were housed in a building in North York. It's frightening to think that families live in a neighbourhood while this evil and demonic activity was routinely taking place. The worldwide internet service made hardcore child pornography available to customers for a fee. The police referred to the activities of a big box store and described the computer files as really, really horrific. In total, there were servers with a capacity of 1,000 terabytes. That is huge. The number of global registered users was nearly 60,000, but only 12,000 have been identified. Prince Andrew's details have been redacted. The operation reached 116 countries and the number of pornographic files uploaded was close to 400,000. The 19,000 child pornographic files were downloaded 19 million times. Canada and 331 users, America 2,027 and Europe 3,806. What a horrible, sickening story. It's demonic in nature and scope. In Canada alone, there were 331 people involved. How can any police force investigate that many individuals? Well, just lock them all up. They can't. And remember that the figure comes from the 12,000 identified users, but in all there were 60,000. Most of them will never be investigated or charged. Just think of the number of victims that are out there. These are lives in Canada and the world that will only know pain, abuse and suffering. The police investigation is one thing, but there is another important question that needs to be asked. Why is this sexual evil so widespread in our society? Why sexually active attack and victimize children who are innocent and know nothing about sex? These questions have no simple answer. However, we have managed to hyper-sexualize our society over the last 2 generations. Starting with the sexual revolution, many have pushed for every sexual orientation and pleasure to be normalized. The United Nations and our public schools are doing the same because they're all working to the same paedophile plan. National Conference teaches librarians how to sneak drag queens past parents. July 18th, 2019. The American Library Association recent National Conference provided librarians from access the country with strategies for advancing gender identity ideology in schools and finding ways to bring drag queen story times into public libraries despite the objection of local communities. The conference was held just as disturbing stories coming to light with the county about drag queen story times held in public libraries. On the West Coast, young children were photographed having extreme physical contact with a drag queen, while on the East Coast, a drag queen who read a young children was discovered to be involved with numerous lurid pornographic sexual business and activities. Held in Washington, D.C., the week-long American Library Association conference brought well over 21,000 attendees to the nation's capital and featured workshops and titles such as Queerness is in Comics, A Child's Room to Choose, Encouraging Gender Identity and Expression in School and Public Libraries. This is pushing gender identity. LGBTQ plus creators and charities and kids, tween and teen comics, Reading the Rainbow, teaching kids about pride and LGBTQ plus history. All paedophilia at the end of the day. 10-year-old girl suspended from asking to be exempt from LGBT school lesson. London, July 1st, 2019. A 10-year-old who was suspended from school for a week after asking her teacher's permission to be excluded from participating in the bullshit LGBT crap poisoning the kids' minds lesson has gone on record to explain the real danger of the invasion of LGBT ideology in the schools, and it is a lot of danger. BBC hands stars 11 million pay rise while cutting free TV licence fees for over 75s. And look at them smiling away, the filthy, greedy bastards. The BBC increased its salary bill for presenters by 11 million last year, as Theresa May demanded to know the corporation can justify such a rise while cutting free TV television licence for over 75s. Maybe this is what's needed so that everyone realises we don't have to pay for a TV licence. This is bullshit. You just don't watch the shit. It's propaganda anyway. The total wage bill for on-air roles was up by more than 7% to 158.6 million, and the BBC's overall headcount increased by nearly 1,000. The number of presenters earning 150,000 or more increased from 64 to 75 in the last financial year, with the combined bill up from 19.8 million to 21.8 million. Those elevated to rich lists included Zoe Ball and Sarah Cox, the Radio 2 DJs. These are friggin' DJs. And Jermaine Janus, the Match of the Day pundit and former footballer, as the BBC responded to previous criticism about the lack of women and BAME presenters amongst its highest earners. Gary Lineker resisted calls to take a pay cut and maintained his salary of 1.75 million per year, making him the BBC's highest paid star for the second year running. His Match of the Day colleague Alan Shearer saw his pay rise. But over 75's got to pay for TV. If you allow this, we'll allow anything. Lemons destroy malignant cells in 12 different cancers, including breast, colon, prostate, lung and pancreas. Lemons, especially their peels, are an excellent source of terpenes, such as D-limone, have shown impressive benefits in studies against many different forms of cancer. According to the Institute of Health Sciences, after more than 20 laboratory tests since 1970, lemon extracts destroys malignant cells in 12 different cancers, including breast, colon, prostate, lung and pancreas. The compounds of lemon are said to be 10,000 times better than the product adromycin, a chemotherapy drug. Everything will be better than that shit. Slowing the growth of cancer cells. In addition, this type of lemon extract therapy only destroys malignant cells while allowing healthy cells to remain unaffected. Preliminary studies in humans are also showing promising benefits in breast cancer patients during a study conducted at the University of Arizona Cancer Center. 43 women diagnosed with breast cancer were given 2 grams of limone daily for 2 to 6 weeks. Blood and breast tissue were collected during the effective mastectomy to measure the level of delimione, as well as note any changes in systemic and tissue biomarkers of breast cancer. Results showed that delimione was found in the breast tissue, reaching the high tissue concentrations average 41.3, whatever that is. Research by Texas Agricultural Experimentation scientists have shown that citrus compounds called limonoids target and stopped neuroblastoma cells in the lab. Neuroblastoma is responsible for about 10% of all cancer in children, Harris said, and is usually a solid tumour in the neck, chest, spinal cord and adrenal gland. Dr. Ed Harris Experimentation Station biochemists collaborated on a study with Dr. Priti Patel, plant psychologist at the Texas A&U University Kingsville Citrus Center in Westlaco. Limonoids are naturally occurring compounds, Harris said. Unlike other anti-cancer drugs that are toxic, limonoids apparently do not hurt a person. That's the beautiful potential. Patel calls citrus fruit a vast reservoir of anti-carcinogens. As a plant psychologist, he has succeeded in isolating and purifying a number of limonoids and citrus so that the biochemists could evaluate and compare their anti-cancer abilities at the molecular level. Limonoids are unique to citrus, Patel said. They are not present in any other fruits or vegetables. My goal is to find the direct benefit of citrus and human health. Results also show that delimione supplementation results in a 22% reduction in the expression of tumour markers. Delimione is available as a dietary supplement, but it is essentially obtained from the diet in lemons. Government tested AIDS drugs on foster kids. Washington. Government-funded research tested AIDS drugs on hundreds of foster children over the past 2 decades, often without providing them a basic protection afforded in federal law and required by some states, and Associated Press Review has found. The research found that by the National Institute of Health spanned the country. It was most widespread in the 1990s as foster care agencies sought in treatment for their HIV-infected children that weren't yet available in the marketplace. The practice ensured that foster children, mostly poor or minority, received care from world-class researchers at government expense, slowing their rate of death. The Bob Beck device cures it, cannabis oils cures it, and extending their lives. But it also exposed a vulnerable population to the risk of medical research and drugs that were known to have serious side effects and for which the safety for children was unknown. If they'll do that to kids, what will they do to you or to us? Randy Prince Andy, the paedophile and the Australian ex-PM's daughter. London, he's been, oh, it's a bit, yeah, I can't read that. Links in description if you want to read that one yourself. The Guardian. Grave abuse of power. If PM shuts Parliament to force no deal Brexit, it would constitute the gravest abuse of power and attack on UK constitutional principle and living memory. Right, it's a load of bullshit because they just won't want a no deal Brexit. That's all that crap's about. Optimism helps you live longer, study fines. Well, be optimistic then, shall we? Dressed to impress at Notting Hill Carnival. Aye. The case for working longer. Don't talk shit. Hotter than Hawaii. Michael Johnson on the genius of Ben Stokes. He's a cricket player. He's not a genius. PM will pick Brexiteer peers to reset Lords. New hope for the northern white rhino fertilisation breakthrough for the last 2 on Earth. Johnson will ennoble Brexit supporters to erode alleged pro-Remain bias. MP's plans to thwart withdrawal doomed to fail. PM tells G7 summit. Brussels warns it will block trade deals if UK doesn't pay 39 billion. We're not paying you nothing, you thieving, robbing bastards. Opposition parties meet today to thrash out anti-Brexit strategy. So what we do here, we don't deal with Europe, we deal with the rest of the world. We've got a much bigger marketplace and they want to deal with us. Getting past the bullshit that the Europe is constrained on us. Fracking site hit by strongest tremor yet. G7 pledge to save Amazon. Always look on the bright side for a longer life. Look on the bright side of life, that's why I have jokes at the end. The war that started a Welsh independence debate. Express. Ashes star Ben Stokes. Brexit heroes to be made lords. Baking bank holiday is a record breaker. Woo, record breaker. The Times. Always look on the bright side. Optimists really do live longer. Archbishop warned not to interfere with Brexit. Will be under fire for scheme to prevent no deal. What's it got to do with the church? Quite simple. Look for the firm or the family, 6 episodes, and you'll know exactly what it's got to do. 40,000 failed asylum seekers are still in the UK. It's all part of the planned invasion. They should be deported immediately. Telegraph. Taller masts to banish mobile blind spots. Ministers lift height limits to barrier better reception for 5G murder weapon in rural areas. Johnson said sends Brexit Sherpa to Brussels to get deal done. Violent Albanian gangsters taunt UK police. Patients stand in hospitals for weeks. BA accused of avoiding paying compensation. Records keep falling as misery rises. Terrifying climate bullshit. German business confidential slumps. Metro. What planet is Trump on? Fury as he snubs G7 climate meeting while fire rage across Amazon. All other leaders attend but still say he's an environmentalist. Daily Fail. On the briny sorrow of never seeing Ross soaping up. Some bullshit. Health tourists fit 150 million in unpaid NHS bills. That's enough to pay for 6,000 nurses or 22,000 heart bypasses. First Lady of Strictly waltzes in. Strictly? Why are they publicising that shit so much? Speaking of shit, it's the scum. May Cashes and Ben Ace Ben Sir. Don't talk shit. Hit the ball. Make him Strictly back. No. Here comes the twins. Fungary direction. Harry I take magic mushrooms. Star bites off tongue during binge. Mirror. Tory warms Johnson on Brexit deal. Ashes hero exclusive my rock. Strictly ready to rumba. Jeez, what a shit paper. Speaking of shit, waste of paper. Star. Strictly again. Delta teach next newcomers English. Lovely jubbly mon amis. Financial Times. Trump open to Iran meeting as Macron seeks a new nuclear deal. US President sets out conditions. Other nations back initiative plan unveiled by G7. Tim Bell, Thatcher's spin doctor and man on Clapham omnibus dies at 77. And almost finally. Contrary to popular opinion, life is not a bitch. Life is a virgin. A bitch would be easy. My wife. Okay, you can choose a coffee table. It'll be hard to get something stupid. Me. Challenge accepted. Boy. Daddy, I want to marry. First say sorry. For what? Say sorry. But for what? What have I done? For you first say sorry. But what's my fault? You first say sorry. But why? You first say sorry. Please, at least tell me a reason. You first say sorry. Okay, Dad, I'm sorry. Now you are ready, for your training is complete. When you learn to say sorry without any reason, you can marry. Love is like a fart. If you have to force it, it's probably shit. Having a bad day? Remember, it could always be worse.